One of Star Wars Jedi Survivor's biggest additions to the gameplay is without a doubt the inclusion of a blaster for Cal. In Jedi Fallen Order we had 2 lightsaber types and that was it. This time though we've got 4 saber types confirmed so far and there's potentially more on the way, although I do find that unlikely, but that already adds quite a bit of gameplay to the game, and by adding blasters, for me that is a huge step. Unfortunately we don't know how the blasters will work fully because we haven't seen any gameplay for it, but we've already seen some cosmetics for them, so in this video I wanted to talk about how I think that's going to work, because it may not be as simple as you think. Before I do get into that though, make sure you are subscribed to the channel so that you'll never miss out on a piece of Star Wars Jedi Survivor content, as I'll be covering the game a lot over the next few months, so stay tuned. Our first look at Cal's blaster pistol was actually from his Black Series action figure, which was announced a lot earlier this year, and we get a glimpse of it here in the latest reveal trailer for Jedi Survivor. It looks to me like a classic Western revolver, perhaps the same creators as the DT-29, regardless it's a blaster pistol that we can now use. As for the skins, there are currently 2 additional ones that we know we're getting for sure thanks to the pre-order bonuses, and they are Obi-Wan's blaster pistol from his DV series, and the other one is Han Solo's DL-44, which is included within the deluxe edition only. What really intrigues me here though is these skins are now labelled as sets. Cal's and BD1's skins are labelled as cosmetics though, which means that they'll be typical skins like we saw in Fallen Order, however the lightsabers and blasters are labelled as sets, so why actually is that? Well, let's take a look back to Fallen Order. The lightsaber customization in that game was awesome. We could change the lightsaber and each individual part of the hilt itself in order to customize it the way we wanted. That was no doubt one of the things that people loved about the game so much, and I know it was for me, and Respawn would be silly not to bring it back in the very same way. By adding lightsabers inspired by other characters, you add an extra element to the saber customization, which I think is a really good idea, and perhaps in this game they might actually deepen the customization options by adding different ignition sounds that you can play around with. More to the point, saber customization will no doubt be very similar to how it was in Fallen Order, and because they're labelled as sets in the pre-order bonuses, my assumption is that blasters will work in a very similar way. The main problem with blasters I'd say is modularity. By that I mean if we can customise the blasters in the same way as lightsabers by changing different parts, they'd likely have to play around with the guns a lot so that they actually can be used like Lego bricks, which allows for countless combinations for the design of the blaster. Given how much more complex these blasters are in design compared to lightsabers, I can't actually really see that happening, but that doesn't mean it can't be customisable. Sure, you may not be able to swap parts around like lightsabers, but the way I see it is every blaster sounds different, so perhaps I could use Obi-Wan's blaster whilst making it sound like Han's DL-44. Additionally, in Star Wars there are red, blue and green blaster bolts. Now there are probably more, but these are certainly the 3 most popular, so part of the customization could be to change the blaster bolt colour, so perhaps you could then have Obi-Wan's blaster firing green blaster bolts instead of red while sounding like Han's DL-44. That as a base level customization I think would actually be really fun to play around with, and there are tons of possibilities for different blaster pistols that we could have in the game, and I'll probably cover some of them in a short or 2 within the coming weeks. But to summarise, I think we could see blaster customization work somewhat similarly to lightsaber customization, but perhaps not as in-depth due to the designs of the blasters. This is of course all speculative though, so please don't take anything as confirmation, it was purely just a simple discussion. Be sure to let me know in the comments how you would like to see the blaster customization work in the game, and make sure you're subscribed to never miss out on another video like this. Thank you all very much for watching, and may the force be with you always.